The door was already open when Daniel Carter heard the crying. He stopped in the middle of the hallway, one hand still holding the folder he had been carrying upstairs. It was almost 9 at night, and the executive floor of Bennett Industries was supposed to be empty. But someone was crying behind the door of his boss's private office. Daniel knew that voice. Victoria Bennett. The woman who could walk into a boardroom and make 20 executives fall silent with a single look. The woman who never showed weakness. The woman who had once told Daniel, "I don't believe in falling apart. There's always someone depending on you." Yet tonight, she sounded broken. Daniel knocked softly. "Ms. Bennett." The crying stopped. For several seconds, there was nothing but silence. Then came a quiet voice. "Daniel." "Yes." "Go home." He glanced through the partially open door. Victoria was sitting on the floor beside her desk. Her expensive jacket was lying across a chair. Her hair, normally perfectly styled, had fallen around her face. One hand covered her mouth, and the other held a photograph. Daniel had never seen her like that. He stepped inside. "I can't do that." Victoria looked up. "Why?" "Because you're alone." "I've been alone before." "Not like this." Her eyes filled with tears again. Daniel closed the door gently behind him. Victoria immediately stiffened. "Daniel. I'm not here as your employee." Her expression softened slightly. "Then why are you here?" "Because you're hurting." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Victoria looked down at the photograph. It showed a little girl with a crooked smile, missing front teeth, and a purple backpack. Daniel recognized her. "Your daughter." Victoria nodded. "Emma." Daniel had heard about Emma. Everyone at the company knew Victoria had a daughter. But very few people knew anything beyond that. "She was supposed to come home this weekend," Victoria whispered. "Supposed to?" Victoria swallowed. "She called me tonight." Daniel sat down in the chair across from her. "What happened?" "She doesn't want to come home." His heart sank. "Why?" Victoria gave a broken laugh. "Because I missed her school play." Daniel remembered the evening. Victoria had been in Chicago negotiating a massive contract. "I thought you were out of town." "I was." And she knew that. She did. Victoria stared at the photograph. But knowing something doesn't make it hurt less. Daniel understood that. He had missed plenty of things since becoming a single father. School meetings. Birthday parties. One time, he'd arrived 20 minutes late to his daughter Lily's winter concert because his manager had refused to let him leave early. Lily had smiled when he finally entered. But Daniel had noticed how quickly she looked away. "Some moments stayed with you." "I told Emma I'd be there," Victoria whispered. "She kept looking for me from the stage." Daniel's chest tightened. She saw an empty chair. Victoria wiped her cheek. "I sent flowers." Daniel didn't say anything. "I sent an expensive gift, too." He nodded. "But she didn't need flowers, did she?" Victoria looked at him. "No. She needed you." Victoria's eyes closed. "I know." The room became quiet again. Daniel looked at the photograph. Then he noticed something on the desk. A child's drawing. It showed 3 people holding hands beneath a yellow sun. Victoria noticed him looking. She drew that when she was 6. Daniel smiled faintly. "She still draws." "Not for me anymore." That sentence hurt more than anything else. Daniel leaned forward. "You can fix this." Victoria shook her head. "You don't understand." "Maybe I do." She looked at him. Daniel hesitated. Then he reached for his phone. "My daughter once stopped talking to me for 3 days." Victoria blinked. "What?" "She was 7. I promised I'd take her to the zoo. Work got crazy. I canceled." "What did you do?" "I apologized." "And?" She said sorry wasn't enough. Victoria stared at him. What happened? I asked her what would be enough. And she said, stay. Victoria's lips trembled. Daniel smiled sadly. So I stayed. For the first time that night, Victoria smiled. What happened after that? She forgave me. Just like that? No. Daniel shook his head. It took time. I had to prove that I meant it. Victoria looked at the photograph again. What if Emma doesn't forgive me? Then you give her time. And if she never does? Then you keep loving her anyway. Victoria looked at him for a long moment. You make it sound simple. It isn't. Daniel stood. But sometimes the hardest things are simple. Victoria slowly got to her feet. She looked exhausted. I should call her. Yes. What do I say? The truth. Victoria picked up her phone. Her hand shook. She pressed Emma's name. The call rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then voicemail. Victoria's face fell. She started to lower the phone. Leave a message, Daniel said. What if she doesn't listen? Leave it anyway. Victoria took a breath. Hi, sweetheart. Her voice broke. Daniel turned toward the window to give her privacy. I know you're angry with me. You have every right to be. I promised I'd be there, and I wasn't. She paused. I can't undo that. Another pause. But I want you to know something. There isn't a contract, a meeting, or a company in this world that's more important than you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I love you. And I'm sorry. She ended the call. For a few seconds, she simply stood there. Then her phone rang. Victoria froze. She looked at the screen. Emma. She answered immediately. Emma. Daniel couldn't hear the little girl's voice. But he could see the change in Victoria's face. She listened. Then whispered, yes. Another pause. Yes, sweetheart. Her eyes filled again. I'll come tomorrow. She smiled. Of course I'll come. She sat down. I'll bring the purple backpack. Daniel smiled. The call lasted nearly 10 minutes. When Victoria finally hung up, she covered her face and cried. But this time, they were relieved tears. Daniel quietly handed her a tissue. Thank you. You're welcome. She looked at him. Why are you still here? Daniel glanced at the clock. My daughter is spending the night with my sister. Victoria smiled. Then you really could have gone home. I could have. Why didn't you? Daniel shrugged. Because somebody once stayed for me. Victoria studied him. Who? My wife. Victoria knew Daniel's wife had died years earlier, but he rarely spoke about her. She stayed beside me when I thought I couldn't keep going, he said. After she died. I promised myself I'd do the same for someone else whenever I could. Victoria looked down. That is a beautiful promise. It's not always easy. No. She smiled. But tonight, you kept it. The next morning, Daniel arrived at work expecting everything to return to normal. Instead, Victoria was waiting near his desk. She wasn't wearing her usual designer suit. She wore jeans and a simple sweater. She looked lighter. I'm leaving early today, she said. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Everything okay? Better than okay. She held up her phone. Emma wants me at her school. Daniel smiled. Then you should go. I am. She turned to leave, then stopped. Daniel. Yes. Thank you for last night. You don't have to thank me. I do. She hesitated. You reminded me that being strong doesn't mean handling everything alone. Daniel smiled. Sometimes strength is knowing when to let someone sit beside you. Victoria nodded. Then she walked away. 3 months later. Daniel was standing in the company lobby when a little girl ran through the doors. Daniel. He barely had time to react before Emma wrapped her arms around him. He laughed. "Hey, Emma." Victoria followed behind her. "Sorry," she said, smiling. "She insisted on seeing you." Emma pulled away. "I made something." She handed Daniel a folded piece of paper. He opened it. It was a drawing. 3 people stood beneath a bright yellow sun. But this time, there were 4 people. Daniel, Lily, Victoria, Emma. At the bottom, Emma had written in crooked letters, "Sometimes people become family because they choose to care." Daniel looked at Victoria. She was crying. But she was smiling too. Daniel folded the drawing carefully. "It's beautiful." Emma grinned. "My mom says you're the reason she learned to come home." Daniel looked at Victoria. She shook her head. "No," she said softly. "He just reminded me where home was." Daniel smiled. And in that ordinary company lobby, surrounded by people rushing to meetings and answering phones, he realized something. Kindness didn't always arrive with grand gestures. Sometimes it was simply staying when someone asked you to leave. Sometimes it was listening to a broken voice behind an open door. And sometimes, the smallest decision to care could change more than one life. It could remind someone that they were not alone. And that, Daniel believed, was one of the most powerful things a human being could give another.